Hey guys, it's Sharon here and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a Color Gab, a long-awaited Color Gab. Now, I had another book in mind that I was going to go ahead and use for this today, but I ended up getting a couple more books in the mail today, so I wanted to show them to you guys. And then I decided that one of the new books is going to serve as our Color Gab today. Alright, so first of all, now both of these are from Creative Haven, but first of all we have Alice in Wonderland. And as I said, it's from Creative Haven. So I'll just show you a few of the pages in here. Well, here's the back cover so you can gather some inspiration on how you might want to do one of the pictures. Same for this inside cover right here. So let me just show you a couple of the pages. They are single-sided, and I'm hoping that I can get everything in frame. I got my paintbrushes in the way. Alright, so I'm hoping I can get everything in frame, but here's just a few of the pages in this book. It's a very, very cute book, and if you're an Alice in Wonderland fan, I think you'll like this book. The paper in these books is pretty nice, actually, you know, for, it's a lot better than Create Space paper. I mean, it's not super thick, but it is pretty nice. I actually really like this paper in here, and the pencils lay down really, really nice on these pages. So that's a few of the pages in the Alice in Wonderland. And then the second book I got is Rose Windows from Creative Haven, and this, they call this a stained glass special effects book. Okay, so here's the back of it. I mean, you're gonna see that these are just gorgeous. So here is the back cover of how you can do one of the designs right there. And then here is the front cover. Oops, here it's actually, that's one of the designs in there. And then here is what's on the front cover as you open up the book. Now these are also single-sided. I'm not going to do a total flip through on it, but these are single-sided. And as you can tell, it's done just a little bit differently. It looks sort of grayscale-ish, but not like, it's not like typical grayscale. It's different somehow. It's different, but it's pre-shaded. You know, they said that it's pre-shaded. But I think the couple that I've seen done, there were some that were done in pencil, there were some that were done in markers, and I mean it turns out beautiful. These are just absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous pictures in here. So this is Rose Windows, and there's a few of the pages in there. I will do proper flip throughs in other videos. That way you guys can see what the books look like in their entirety. But for today, we're going to take one of the pictures out of this Rose Windows book, and we're going to go ahead and do this picture here with the face and then the little, it's a sun. You know, we got the sun, so we're going to do some little rays of the, we got the rays of the sun, and then we got like the sky here. So we're going to do this picture because, like, as you guys know, for Color Gabs, I like to do ones with bigger areas because I am coloring with a visual impairment. I'm going to go ahead and do my little disclaimer. I'm coloring with a visual impairment, and so a lot of times when I'm coloring, you're probably going to see part of my head or part of my face in the camera because I have to get really close to my work so I can see what I'm doing. So when I do these Color Gabs, I like to try to get something with some bigger spaces. That way we have a lot to work with. So we're going to go ahead and do the picture of the sun, and I'm going to go ahead and lower the camera. That way we can get closer to what we're doing. Actually, it looks like it's low. Looks like it's about as low as it's going to get. So I'm going to angle it just a little bit. So sometimes like the angle of the camera really helps to kind of keep some of that out of the way. So we're going to go ahead and use some Polyhcromos today on this. And yeah, this is the first time I've been able to do a Color Gab in a little bit. As I was saying on another video, we have been super busy with Lions Club stuff. I mean, it's just really been keeping us hopping. Like, we don't meet during the summer, but our board of directors meets, and we you know, we end up having like board of directors meetings, and you know, there's still functions and stuff that we have to do. And so it just really gets, it really gets to be, you know, a little nuts at times. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to pick a couple of, I got a yellow here, and then I got like a yellowy orange, and we're going to get to work on this sun. Okay, So we're gonna just make sure that we are in frame right here. We're just gonna make sure that we're in frame. So I've never colored on anything like this before. This is the first time that I've actually done any kind of coloring on something like this, okay? So, now I'm not sure how well it's gonna show up on here because normally our sun is gonna be yellow and this yellow really is not showing up. I think I'm gonna have to pick a couple of different colors here because the yellow just is not showing up. So a lot of this is going to be a bit of trial and error because, you know, simply because I've never colored on anything like this before. So I'm going to make it more of a skin tone. I know that this is supposed to be a sun, but we're going to try to make it a little bit more like a skin tone color on here, and I hope that I don't screw it up because this is such a pretty picture. I might have to bear down on it a little bit. I normally try to color with the light hand, but I may have to bear down on this a little bit and just try to get it to show up a little bit more. Maybe, yeah, I think bearing down on it a little bit is gonna help. So, but like I was saying, we do not meet as a Lions Club during the summer, but our board of directors meets, and you know we've always still got stuff going on that that we have to do. So it's always something going on. Like we say, oh yeah, we get a little bit of a break, but there's always something going on that we have to do yet. And okay, I am just not sure how well this is going to show up. Well, we're going to keep plugging away at this, and we'll make do. Maybe markers are better on this, but I mean I've seen some of this colored with pencil, and it's really pretty. Well, it's showing up. Yeah, it's doing all right. So the sun, you know what though, the sun is not like purely like yellow, like you get a lot of orange in there in the sun. Like you get a lot of shades of orange. So we're gonna pretend that maybe this is like maybe a midday sun where it's kind of a little bit where it's not quite so yellow. But you know what? Like Dee Dee always says, I am the boss of my coloring book, and if I want to make an orange sun, I will make an orange sun. I can color it any way I darn well please, because I am the boss of my coloring book. And that is that. But we're going to go ahead and just do it this way, because this does show up pretty nicely like this. And I got a darker color to, to fill in with the shading, so we will do that in a little bit as soon as I get all of this colored in with this one. So, like I said, we've been real busy with Lions Club stuff, and we've had this past weekend. I actually had a meeting out of town that I went to because of Lions Club stuff. I have because of a job that I do, a position that I have. I have to go to meetings about like three to four times a year with this. And this weekend also we had an open house because we have a camp that we do for visually and hearing impaired kids. So we went to that because our club does the open house dinner for that. So we decided to go ahead and do that. I may color that with the darker color actually. I'm gonna switch to my darker color, and I'm gonna color these little rays with the darker color. Now I think I'm gonna color my sky blue. The blue will show up very, very nicely, and then I'm gonna blend in with the lighter color against the rays here. But yeah, like I said, our club that we're in does the open house dinner for the camp, and so we went down Friday night and we did that. We did the dinner, And then I had to go back to the hotel that we were staying at because, ooh, whoopsie. I am on the executive board for the, you know, due to the position that I have. I'm on the executive committee. I'm actually president of one of the things that I sit on, so we had to have an executive committee meeting, and oh my gosh, I may have to get like a new eraser head with my Derwent because this one is about shot. But yeah, we had to have an executive committee meeting. So we took care of that on Friday night. I'm not very keen about how this erases on here. So we took care of that. We did our executive committee, and then Saturday was actually all day Saturday was actually our big meeting that we did. So we were busy all weekend. We came back on Saturday night, and I'm not keen on how that erased. I don't know if I can fix that or not. Well, I'll see what I can do with it. But so we came back home on Saturday night, and then Sunday we just kind of what did we do Sunday? My husband had to do some yard work, and then after that we did our big 2.5 miler walk. You know what? Actually, I might just take, just to kind of cover it up a little bit, I might just take and do the darker around here and then blend it in, because it's kind of showing like lighter areas here. So I'm gonna do some blending of that down into the rays just a little bit. So that's what we did Sunday. Not really too much. And then, like I said, we did that big. We did our 2.5 miler walk that you know, we tend to do usually on the weekends. Sometimes we do it during the week if we don't have anything going. And I got some good news. You know, you guys have heard me say that I put myself on a diet. Well, I did, and I am down 7 pounds. I have been on this diet since like June, I'm going to say like June 13th. And so I am down 7 pounds. I know it doesn't seem like much, but like I'm not trying to win a race on as far as like how quickly I can lose it, because a lot of times if you do that, you're going to end up putting it back on and then some, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to be proud of the 7 that I have now, and I am optimistic that there will be more. So I am down 7 pounds, which is awesome. Very, 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 very happy about that. What else has been going on? I got a little bit of technical issues with my computer, just a little bit. Not with the computer itself, but with my Sims game. You guys know I like to play this game called The Sims, and I use that to illustrate the stories that I write on my blogs. And so the game itself will load, but I'm having some issues like doing some other stuff with it, where it requires a loading screen. And what's going on right now is that it will not take running 2 loading screens in one single playing session, because it gets stuck. It seems to get stuck. It's like it doesn't want to go. And now I'm the type, now some of you may hear of gamers that play with something called mods. You may have heard that terminology before, mods. And it's something that somebody makes. It's like a little tweak that somebody makes to kind of change up, to change something around in the game a little bit. Because sometimes in a vanilla version of a game, now a vanilla version is a game without mods, like it's the game like how it was meant, like how it was released from the factory, so to speak, from the people that made the game. So vanilla means that you're not playing with mods. But a lot of people will use mods in different games. It's not just for Sims, but in other games too, because there's something in it that they don't like. So they they will get a mod to kind of change up something that they may not like. So I play with mods in my Sims game, but the risk of playing with mods though is sometimes you're going to get some issues if you have conflicting mods. It may not let your game run properly. So I'm thinking that now everything was running fine until, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and then it started doing this thing, and I don't know why. It could be that there was a mod I tried, and so I've had to take some things out and put some things back in, and so I've been trying to mess with that a little bit, you know, after we got back home from doing our stuff. Otherwise, I might have had a Color Gab up a little bit earlier, but you know what, when I get involved in trying to fix a problem, I like to try to get it fixed as soon as I can, and I get totally focused on that. So that's what was going on there. And honestly, like, I haven't even colored since I showed you guys my last completed pages that I did. That was a few videos back. I showed you the completed pages for I think around like mid-June to mid-July, something like that. It covered like about a month's worth of coloring. And the ones that I showed you were the ones that I'd done in one of the stained glass books and stuff. So I showed that, but you know what? Honestly, since then, I have not done any more coloring. And that's pretty bad. That really is. It's pretty bad because, oh my gosh, like, I miss it. Like, you know, it's kind of weird. Like, when I don't get to color, or if it's been so long since I've colored, I start to feel a little misplaced, if you know what I mean. I start to feel a little bit misplaced when I go quite a while without actually doing any coloring. I like to try to color something every day, even if it's just a little square or something, or a little piece of a mandala, but that doesn't always happen, because either, you know, as I was saying in one of my other videos, there's days where I just don't feel like it. Like, there's days I just don't want to color. I just don't want to. And then there's days where I'm just so busy that I just don't have, you know, the time to do that. So I do what I can. I color when I can, when I want to. Let's see. I'm hoping you guys can see this. Make sure that I am in frame. Okay. So, you know, if I don't really feel like it, like, I'm not going to force myself to just so I can say that I've colored. Because then, you know, it loses its luster. It's not as fun anymore. So I don't like to do that. Same thing with reading. Like, you know, there's times where I get on this reading streak. I get on a reading binge, and I love to read. But there's times where I can't find a good book to read, and which is weird because, like, I got so many books, like, to read on my little list that I need to do. But, you know, if I get into a hump, I just don't want to, and nothing sounds good. Nothing sounds good at that point. So I don't force it. So this is actually, sitting down to do this with you guys today is the first that I have actually gotten to color in a little while. But we are going to get something done today. Now, I may end up having to do this in 2 parts because I can never ever finish one on camera, especially in one part. The only thing I really did do that way was my Crayola challenge, but that's a little bit of a different circumstance. But to actually do one of these, like, Color Gabs, like, I've never been able to finish one of these in a single setting. Yeah. So that's been what's going on with me. I think I also mentioned in another video that Caleb, my guide dog, my little golden retriever, actually he's a big golden retriever. There's nothing really little about him. He's a big boy. But he's going to be retiring, and probably sooner than later, because, you know what, like, my husband and I were talking about it a lot. And yes, he loves to go. I mean, he loves to go. That boy loves to go. Like when we're going somewhere, like he knows. I mean, he absolutely loves to go. But also, you know, I have to consider the quality of the work too. And you know what? Like, he's just not as sharp as what he used to be. You know, being that he's an older guy, you know, he's like 10 and a half, or he'll be 10 and a half in August. So, you know, he's just not as sharp as he used to be in his younger days. And so, it's best to probably just retire him sooner than later. Now, we are going to keep him. I know a lot of people ask, and I did get this question one time. I get this question a lot, actually, from different people. But, you know, oh my gosh, what happens to him after they retire, right? Well, there's a few options. Now, we're going to keep Caleb. I could never, ever give him up. But, you know, there's people that can't keep, you know, more than one dog. Because once the dog retires, you know, then they are a pet. You know, they're considered a pet. They're no longer working anymore. So a lot of people can't keep both a working dog and a retired dog at the same time, because either, you know, they live in an apartment and the landlords frown on that, you know, they won't let them do that, or it's, you know, it's a financial burden because, you know, there's still the matter of vet bills and stuff that you got to pay, and food, and, you know, the upkeep of them, you know, to take care of them. You know, so there's just sometimes, you know, people just can't do that. So either their retired dog will go live somewhere else, either with a friend or a family member that, you know, that they deem is worthy to have them, or there's actually people that want the retired dogs so they can, you know, go back to the training facility, and you know, they'd be placed with someone who would want the dog, you know, during their twilight years. Sometimes, you know, sometimes they'll go back to their first puppy raiser. I've heard of that happening before. That actually happens quite a lot, I think. And but like I said, I'm gonna keep Caleb because I could never give him up. But some people, you know, what they end up doing is that they just they'll continue to just have them work, you know, because like if they can't give them up, you know, like me, they'll continue to have them work, but just at a slower pace. Like they'll slow it down, and then just, you know, keep the dog until the dog passes, and then they go back for you know, for a new one, because, you know, they can't bear to give them up. And I can't say as I blame them, because I could never do that. So thank goodness, you know, we have the means and the way to, you know, to hold on to my dogs after they retire. My second dog, Abby, who was also a golden retriever, she retired at about 11, and she lived about another year and a half before she died. She got lung cancer, believe it or not, of all things to get, lung cancer. But she did. She got lung cancer, and she got diagnosed, and then within like I want to say like 6 weeks, you know, she was gone. Yeah, she was gone. All right, I'm gonna have to color this over here with the lighter color that I've got, and I'm just kind of going around in circles a little bit because this is a circular piece right here. And that seems to help kind of cover our area that we need. So anyway, like I said, Abby lived about another year and a half after she retired, and then we you know, we had her cremated, and we have her we got her ashes back and stuff. That's what we usually do with our dogs. And you know what, like, we've had other dogs that we've had to say goodbye to because they get old and sick, and you know. One thing about having animals is, you know, they don't live as long as we do, and it is very hard when, you know, when it's the end of their time, and it is very, very hard when it's the end of their time. So yeah, that's what's going on with Caleb. But he, like I said, you know, he has some arthritis that is slowing him down quite a bit. His back legs will scrape the floor or the concrete as he walks. So, and also, like I said, he's just not as sharp as he used to be. Like, sometimes he'll get kind of confused, like, on sort of where he's at. Like, it's kind of hard to explain, but I guess even dogs themselves, like, they can get, you know, they can get, like, dementia stuff and memory loss and confusion and this and that, you know. So, yeah, so he's every once in a while, like, he'll get like really confused, and then you know, which isn't nice. I mean, sometimes he's right with it, and then sometimes, like I said, he's just sort of like zoned out. It's the best way I know how to explain it is he'll just sort of zone out, and it's hard. It really is. It is very, very hard. It's difficult. Because time really flies with them, and you know, time really flies with them, and then of course, oh my gosh, now I'm gonna have to break in a younger one. I'm gonna have to break in a new one pretty soon. So yeah, I'm trying to just blend this out a little bit. I'm really reluctant to use a blender on this because it's sort of a form of grayscale, and I do not want to have the blender, you know, take the grayscale stuff off like it does on that Create Space paper. I mean, this paper is a lot nicer than that, but because it is sort of this type of thing, it doesn't react to stuff like a blender pencil the way that other papers would. And because this is such a big space, I don't have to get quite so close. Now, when I do the sky and stuff, I'll have to get a little bit close, so I'll do some camera adjustments, and I gotta fix the lips and the eyes, and I think we'll do like some pink lips or something, you know. Maybe some green eyes. I'm try to get around the lips a little bit without going over it. Yeah. All right. So our sun is taking pretty good shape. Some of this doesn't want to blend out real well. I'm having to bear down just a little bit. Normally I am not so heavy-handed like with my pencil because I don't like to color that way. But with this I'm just a little bit more so because I want to try to get all of those harsh lines out. Okay, well, I guess it's going to be good enough. Do it a little bit down here. So this week we have a couple of things going on. I have a meeting on Saturday, and then, you know, just a couple of things we're doing around here. We have to take Sheena, one of our other dogs, into the vet's office because we have to get her stitches out. She had a little bit of surgery, probably about a little bit over a week ago. Was it a week ago yesterday? Yeah, because she gets these lumps on her, these growths, and this is the second time that we've had to have it taken off, and it's like a cancerous mast cell kind of thing, and so we get those taken off, and then they send them into pathology to look at, but all we can do is just have them removed and keep an eye on her. You know, she ain't no spring chicken, you know, really. She's 7. All right, guys, how does our sun look? There we go. What do you think? It's not too bad. We'll have to do the lips and the eyes and stuff, and I'll have to do the sky. But, yeah, so she gets these cancerous lumps that we have to take off of her, or to get taken off of her by the surgeon. All right, guys, I don't know how much of this got cut off. I swear, like, my camera, it cuts me off like after 29 minutes or whatever, and sometimes I lose track of the time, and I don't remember to turn it off and start the clip over again. So it may have cut off some of the footage. I'm sorry about that. But if it cut off any of that, it's probably just the lips, which is well enough because I was just doing like a lot of erasing and fixing because I was getting out of the lines on it. But anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and do her eyes, do our son's eyes, a shade of green. And then I don't know if maybe we'll put any makeup on her or not. You know, we could be like just we could be a male son, but maybe it's Ms. Sun today. So we're just gonna do some green eyes on here. And then I'll go in with the darker green and just kind of shade that in. But I really like how the pencils lay down on this. And this is sort of grayscale-ish. You know, it's not like some of the grayscale that you see, but it is sort of grayscale-ish, you know, because it kind of gives that special effect of that. And I may take like a Posca pen or something, or my white gel pen, and put, you know, the white like in the eyeballs there, or in the pupils. Had to stop and think there for a minute, in the pupils. Now I'm having to get a little bit close with the eyes here, so I apologize for my head being in the way, and you may not be able to see my hand. I'm going to apologize for that because I have to get in kind of close to do these like smaller details here. So then I'm going to take this lighter green and just kind of go around it a little bit and try to blend it out on her eyes. On Ms. Sun, we're going to call her Ms. Sun, Ms. Sunshine. So maybe we'll do like a little bit of eyelashes on her and stuff. I may just do some of that like off camera, depending on how much footage I have here, because it does take me a little bit to do. Okay, so all right, that's her eyes. Now I'm gonna go ahead and grab some blue and we'll do our sky. I think maybe we'll even do a pastel background on this. We'll have to see. Sometimes I don't really decide until it's the end of the line. And then I decide if I want to do pastel or something like that. But I'm sure maybe Touch 5 markers would do well on this. You would just have to either print it off onto some different paper, or make sure that you put a bunch of paper, make sure you put a bunch of paper like between the pages, because it is still paper, and it's not going to take well to, it's going to bleed through, you know, for alcohol markers, it's going to bleed through. So let's go ahead and just color all of this in here blue, and then I'll go in with darker colors, with the darker blue to shade that. But we'll do all of this in one color blue, and then I have a darker blue that I'm going to go ahead and shade that with. What's really nice about these things is that it tells you where to put your shading. So if you're not like familiar with like grayscale or whatever, or if you've never colored like grayscale or anything like this, it can be very helpful because it tells you like where to put your shading, and if you do markers like, you know, like Anne says from A Colorful Life, you could just do straight color on it and not even have to worry about even putting in extra shading. But I'm doing this with pencil. So I'm going to put in some extra shading, and I'm sharpening pencils. So just give me a sec. Alright, so we're just going to take blue, or a blue, a lighter blue. Oops. Had a little bit of where it wanted to break off on me. Yes. So, but we're just going to do all of this over here, and then we'll bring in the darker blue to shade this. So it has been really, really hot here lately. It's been just really muggy and humid. We had a really nice day out at the camp though. I mean, it was perfect weather for doing stuff like that, but I mean, otherwise, like, it has just been so hot and muggy and humid. So thank goodness for air conditioning, because I don't like to be sweltering. I really don't like to sweat. I'm not one of those who really enjoy the process of sweating. So I really don't like to swelter, but at the same time, I detest cold. Like, I detest cold weather. So I guess sometimes, you know, beggars can't be choosers. So I'm just trying to make sure that I'm in frame here. Keep my head out of the way as much as possible. But we turned our... Now, we're the type of folks that we do not always run the air. Like, oh my gosh, like our neighbors, I think, they run the air from like, I want to say like April all the way to October. And I mean, constant. Like they're always running the air. But we don't do that. Like if it's nice, we'll open the windows, you know, to get some fresh air blowing in through here, which makes it nice. You know, it kind of airs things out a little bit, and you know, then the air doesn't quite get so stale because you know, when you're breathing in like stale air, you just don't feel as bright and chipper. So when it's nice, we just open the windows and stuff and get some fresh air. But then when we need to, the air conditioning goes back on. Oh my gosh, like our electric bill, or our energy bill or whatever, it went up in June because like we were running the air quite a bit in June. You know, so it's not exactly real cheap to, you know, to cool off your house. And we were doing okay until about June, and then it went up, but that was to be expected. A couple years back, we got our furnace and our air conditioner replaced because they were very old. Our furnace actually went out. It actually did go out in the middle of October. And so we ended up having to get a new furnace because it was just shot. It was just shot. So when they came in to do that, we also just had the air conditioner replaced because the way it was set up, like if they had to come back later, if the air conditioner went out to replace it, it would have been just a big pain in the butt. And they gave us a cheaper price, you know, if we did both at the same time. So we did. So what we had before was like real old stuff. Like, I mean, you know, 30 years old, I guess, because we use it till it wears out. But we got that replaced, and then so what we have now is like one of those efficiency things. Turbo, what are you doing? Hey. Turbo was acting a little goofy. I don't know what he was trying to do, but maybe, I don't know. No, he's kind of standing here looking at me. And Caleb's all plopped down on the floor. So, in the long run, like we're actually kind of saving on the air and the heat because we have one of those efficiency units, which makes it nice. But still, you do what you gotta do. But we have central air, thank God. You know, we don't have to bring in one of those like little room units. We have central air and central heat. So thank goodness for that, because you know, we can cool off the house pretty good, and then when we need to use the heat, it warms things up really, really nicely. So thank goodness for that. I will say that. Okay. So I have to turn my book sometimes, like when I'm doing this kind of thing, because it's just a little bit more comfortable for me, and trying to keep things in frame for you guys, you know. So if I didn't say so earlier, I am using my Polyhcromos for this picture, and yeah. So this video may be a little bit longer than usual because I'm determined to get this done in one sitting. Now, I'll probably make some tweaks like off camera, like I may put some stickles on it, but I tend to just kind of do that off camera. And then I'll probably take either my Posca pen or my white gel pen and put, you know, the white sparkles like in the pupils. And if I need to tweak like any of the strokes, I will do that. Like I'll take my orange and smooth things out a little bit if I need to do that, because sometimes there's things I catch off camera that I don't catch here, you know, when I'm taking a little bit of a closer look at it. So what I'll do is I'll show it to you. I mean, you'll see it get done here, most of it anyway, you know, except for the little tweaks. And then like when I do my completed pages or whatever, then I will also show that to you guys. So, but of course, like I was telling you guys at the beginning of the video, I did get these 2 books in today. The one that we're coloring in now is one of them. And I won't be getting any books for a little bit because, I mean, I did quite an extreme haul, an epic gargantuan haul earlier, and also, you know, a couple of other hauls, you know, another sort of a larger one, and then I did a couple of other hauls, and so I am not going to be able to do anything for a while. So, but, you know, there's a lot here for me to color in, so it's not like I'm going to run out of things to color, because I do have a lot of books in my collection, and also a lot of supplies to color with, so it's not like I am going to be running out of things to do. Whereas, you know, when I first started coloring, and I know I've said this in other videos, I predominantly worked in, you know, just 3 books, because that's all I had was just 3 books. That's all I worked in. And then my collection just sort of bloomed last year, like totally last year was when I started adding to it, and when I added to it, I really added to it. But, sometimes I'll get a lot in one sitting, and sometimes I won't. Like, sometimes it's just a little bit this time, a little bit that time. Because, I mean, like, it's not like I really go anywhere too much. Like, I don't go to Michael's, really. I very seldom go to Walmart. You know, simply because I do a lot of my shopping online. And a lot of those places, they're not really close to me. So, excuse me, if I wanted to go shopping in a place like that, I'd have to get a ride, because obviously with my eyesight, you do not want me driving. That is a very dangerous prospect. And, you know, they're just not super close, so I'd either have to get my husband to take me, you know, which is an inconvenience on him, or, you know, get someone else to take me. And I don't really like to ask for rides very much, because I kind of feel like I'm inconveniencing somebody's life, and I don't want to do that. So I will look at videos, or I will look at stuff that I would like to see about getting, and I will order it online if at all possible. It makes it convenient for me. And, yeah, I have to wait for shipping and stuff. But, you know, even if you go into the stores, it doesn't mean that they're going to carry it, or that they have it in stock. So, like, you know, if you go to Barnes & Noble, you know, they may not have something that you're looking for. So you'll have to either order it online, or, you know, go into another one of their stores to, you know, to look for it. And then, you know, they may not have it either. And, again, like I said, you know, I need wheels to do that, and I can't just go outside and just jump in a car anytime I damn well please, because I just can't. I just can't. I wish I could, but I can't. I always tell folks that I need one of those kit cars, you know, from Knight Rider. You guys might remember the show Knight Rider from back in the 80s. I'm dating myself here, let me tell you. But Kit was Michael Knight's talking car, and he could sometimes Kit could sometimes drive himself. So I need a Kit car. I really do. I need a Kit car. If I'm actually going to be able to do that without assistance. But that is like a long time in coming. Probably not in my lifetime. I mean, I know that they're kind of working on driverless cars, but you know, I think that's a long ways away from being tweaked, you know, to being actually ready. And plus, you know, I'm sure there's some stuff that you got to do with it. You can't just jump in and tell it, okay, I need to go, blah, blah, blah. There's still some stuff you got to do to it to make it go. And then, you know, and then too, like, how do you avoid an accident? Like, let's say you're on the road with one of those things and somebody's being just a totally careless driver, you know, not really watching out where they're going. And then like, you know, if you're just in a regular car, yeah, you gotta, you know, there's times you gotta swerve to miss it, or you gotta try to, you know, get out of that lane or something, you know, so you're not like behind them or in front of them or something. You know, to avoid something like that. And with these driverless cars, like, how do you do that? Because, you know, it's probably programmed to go somewhere, but it's probably got it would probably have like maybe motion sensors or something, or sensors that would register that, you know, something is nearby and that it needs to avoid something. But like I said, it's probably a long ways away from being ready to go. But it would be kind of cool though, wouldn't it? I always say that sometimes, you know, we're living in this sci-fi age, because, you know, things I never thought would be possible have been possible. You know, look at the way computers are now. Back in my husband's day, their computers were just these huge monstrous things that you know, that would take up a whole room. And that was a computer, and a lot of times this computer would have to be jointly used by, I think he told me that the computer that at the university where he went or whatever was also being shared by a bank or something like that. I'll have to ask him about that because I forget. But, you know, back in that day, you know, they used something called punch cards, you know, to program the thing. So, you know, computers are not what you know, back then, they're not what they are now. You know, even back when I was young, you know, they had these Apple Macs, okay, right? But they had these huge discs that you put in them, and all you could really do with it is play games. You know, you put a floppy disk in it, and yes, the disk was floppy, but, you know, it would hold like one game. So basically all you would be able to do on it is play games on, you know, on this computer. So it's not like, you know, computers have come a very long way, you know, since then. And of course, you know, we'd never have anything like a tablet back then. You know, heck with that, like, we would have never had like iPads or, you know, Samsung Galaxies or anything like that. You know, you just didn't have that back then. You just did not have that back then. So, you know, if you think about technology, you know, the way it is now, I mean, it's insane what, you know, what people have been able to come up with and what we're able to get. Of course, back then, let me tell you, life was a lot simpler. You know, pre-internet, life was a lot simpler, and, you know, back in the 70s and 80s and stuff. And you know what? And I think every generation says this, that life was much simpler back then when they were younger. And but you know what? Like, when you're a kid, you really shouldn't have a lot to worry about, you know, because, you know, you're not doing adult stuff when you're kids. You know, you're not having to worry about paying your bills and stuff. You're just being a kid. So, of course, when you grow up, you know, life is definitely much more complicated because you have responsibilities that you have to take care of. And, you know, you can't just sit around and play video games all day. Even though, and I'm going to tell the truth here, even though I have, there's been days where I just did not feel like doing anything, so I would turn on my Sims game, and that's where I would be for the next bunches of hours, let me tell you. Oh boy. But yeah, man, I remember back in the day, oh my gosh, I remember back in the day when I had my Atari. Yes, Atari, A-T-A-R-I, Atari. And we would all gather around it and we would play stuff like Pac-Man, Space Invaders. There was one called Asteroids that we would play. Donkey Kong. What else? Combat. I think it was just called Combat. We'd play that. And I mean, and then just other stuff like that. Defender. And like if you look at the games back then compared to what the games look like now, I mean, it's just a bunch of like, I think the games back then, like, I think they were only maybe two, they weren't very big, like graphically, you know, graphically they just weren't very big. They were just kilobytes big. But you know, it wasn't very much graphically. It was just little, you know, it kind of looked like little paper pieces, right? It kind of just looked like little paper pieces. But now, of course, like if you look at, you know, if you look at stuff now and the games that they put out now, I mean, it's crazy. It is just absolutely crazy just how much it has developed into what it has developed into nowadays. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and take and I'm gonna move this camera just a little bit. I'm gonna take this darker blue and I'm gonna put in some shading a little bit, just to kind of give it some dimension. Just kind of, now see, I colored over this and sometimes like I don't remember like where all that shading is, but I'm just gonna do this darker color just kind of on the outside here, and then just blend it off with the lighter color here. So I'm just gonna do it this way on the outer part, and then I'll shade with the lighter color in there. And I probably could have got, yeah, I guess it's enough of a difference. I could have got maybe another color that made a little bit more of a contrast, but that's okay. We'll use what we have in our hand here. So there's our little bit of nostalgia for today. I was a child of the 80s. A child and teenager of the 80s, actually. So, yep, I ain't no spring chicken no more. And let me tell you, there's times that I really miss those days. Because let me tell you, like, you don't, like back then you didn't get a lot of the crap that you see nowadays. You really don't. And I'll tell you, and I'm gonna tell you too, I'm very old school about a lot of stuff. I really am. And just some of the stuff I see nowadays, it just makes me scratch my head and just kind of go, jeez. Yep, so, I mean, it's just, I'm just very old school about a lot of stuff, and I don't, like, you know what, like, I don't even listen to the news hardly anymore because I don't like what I hear on it. It's depressing, and it's just sick. It truly is. And my paintbrushes are in the way. I have my paintbrushes sitting here on the kitchen table, which is where I do these coloring gabs, is on my kitchen table, because it just makes it a little bit easier to film. Sometimes I'll do it in the living room on the other desk. If it's a smaller piece, I'll do that, like with the Emoji Crazy one, because then I could just do it with my little tripod instead of lugging in the bigger one, the big full-size one. But it's just a little easier to do on the kitchen table when I'm doing these little coloring gabs. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take and just put the darker color on the outside of all of these right now, and then I'll go around and I'll blend it in. But I think she's shaping out nicely. I really do. I think she's shaping out pretty nicely. Ms. Sunshine. So, oh, it's just you and me tonight because your dad has a class that he's going to. It'll just be you and me for dinner.
You want salmon?
Yeah. Or there's that leftover chicken. I can, we can just chop it up and stick it in a salad.
Okay, can do that.
Yep. We can save the salmon for tomorrow night.
Okay. There's only 2 left of the salmon.
Okay. We'll have to get some more then. So, like I said, I've been on this diet, and what I've been mostly eating is cottage cheese and Caesar salad and stuff that either swims or flies. And so far, I am down 7 pounds, like I said earlier in the video, so I'm proud of that. I know it doesn't seem like much, but hey, 7 pounds is 7 pounds, and I'll take it. Actually, I'll leave it because I don't want it back. Oh gosh. So I'm sort of running out of things to say as I'm doing this, but we're getting to the end of this. I just have to finish coloring in the darker areas, and I'm going to shade it a little bit, and then we'll be good to go on this one. But I think this is going to turn out really pretty. I really like how these pencils lay down on this paper. I'm not sure how Prismacolors would act on this kind of thing. I don't know, because I've not, I just got this book, so I've not tried Prismas on this, because it seems like this paper is a little bit different than the rest of it in the regular Creative Haven ones. I could be wrong, but it just seems like it's slightly heavier. I mean, the paper in these Creative Haven books is pretty nice anyway, but this book, the paper in this book, it feels like it's just slightly heavier. At least to me it does. So I'm turning this and just trying to go at it. But this video, I think you're going to get a pretty long video today, because I'm trying to get all of this done in one sitting. That way I don't have to do 2 parts. But as I said earlier, I'm also going to probably just do a little bit of tweaks off camera once I am done with most of this. Like, I'm going to whiten up the pupils in her eyes, and then if I need to go over a few other things that I might have missed, or to smooth out that I may not see here in this setting, I will do that. But otherwise, we're going to be just getting this done on camera here. So, what's everybody been coloring? I know I always ask this, but what's everybody been coloring? I have seen a lot of really, really great work on my Facebook group, and I do have to apologize because I've not been around there as much as I try to be, because with just being busy, it's just been hard for me to get on there and spend the time on there that I need to spend on there. So I've been just throwing down some likes and a few comments and stuff, and we're getting quite a few members. We've got like I think we got like over 300 people on there now on the Facebook group, so I'm really, really happy about that. It's growing. It's growing. And even if it's not like a huge one, that's okay too. I'm not gonna try to race to get like a huge Facebook group. Whoever, if you want to join, fine. If you don't, fine. But we'd love to have you. Now I'm a little bit, what I do is when I go to approve everybody, because I have it set up that I have to approve the members. I look to see if you're on other groups, and if there's like if you don't have anything coloring related or something, you know, or if I can't like see any details when I click on your page, chances are you're probably not going to get approved because I don't, you know, with the history of my troll, I'm trying to be kind of careful. I'm trying to be kind of careful. So, I mean, I'm pretty lenient, but like if something doesn't ring well with me, then I'm probably not going to approve you. I've never had that happen yet, but I'm just saying, like, if I do. And I'm not one of those that I'm going to sit there and do a roll call. I'm just not going to do that. I know some people do that with their groups, and that's fine. You know, it's their groups. You do it however you want to run it. But, like, for mine, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do a roll call. Come and go as you please, you know. And so we're getting down to it here. I've almost got all of the dark put in here, and then I'm going to start shading it. Or blending it out, I mean. Blend it out. Did you go get your frappe? Yep.
I keep telling them I just want to buy their machine.
Oh, right. That'd be an expensive prospect because it's a commercial machine that they use for that. And then you got to get the mix though too.
Yeah.
And they probably have a special mix that they use for that.
That's their corporate.
Yep. And they're not going to give away that little secret. Because that's one of their money makers. There's no way they're going to give that up. So, see Ms. Sun here?
Mm-hmm. That's pretty.
Like that?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to make the little blue sky here.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
I like that.
Cool. So, say hi, YouTube.
Hello, YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't even let myself have a frappe anymore because they're so good, and but they're not good for my diet no more. But you're good. I might take a sip of one at some point, but it's been a long time since I had one, and I'm not gonna chance it now because it's not good for my diet.
Right.
I'd put all those 7 pounds back on in a heartbeat.
I love the frappes.
Yep.
But I also take out some of the stuff out of it too.
Yeah, you don't get the whipped cream, I know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because you can't really taste the actual filling from the frappe.
Yeah, I don't mind it so much. I just, because I mix it all right in.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Yep. You know what else is good and I haven't had in a while? Oh my gosh, I need to stop this because I'm gonna start craving it. Is a McFlurry. Yeah.
Those are okay.
I like the Oreo one. The ones from Dairy Queen are better though. They got better ice cream.
Yeah, I think they're better off getting
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I still have the gift cards.
Yep. Yep, we got her a couple of gift cards for DQ for Christmas. So, they're kind of expensive though. Like I was sort of surprised at how expensive they kind of are.
Yeah. But they're drinks or?
Well, with their ice cream stuff, even everything, even their hamburgers are kind of expensive. But you know what? Like, all of that stuff is getting expensive anymore.
Yeah, it is.
It really is.
You're just paying for the machine.
Well, you're paying for the brand, you know. You're paying for the brand. You're paying for the, you know, the service. Because, you know, a lot of that stuff, it's marked up real, you know, pretty high because, like, it pretty much, like, it doesn't cost them that much to produce it, but, you know, but they mark up the prices, you know, so they can make that profit. So, yeah, guys, it's expensive to do just about anything anymore. So we're almost done, guys. Now I'll probably just do the stickles and stuff off camera, but I'm gonna get all these colors blended in, and then we'll be done with the actual coloring part of it. And let's see. Okay. I'm running out of stuff to say. I know. I wish I could have one. Alright guys, I believe that we are done with this. Oh, got a couple more to do here. Just gonna blend it all out. Alright guys, I believe that we are done with this. So here is what our Ms. Sunshine looks like. There we go. This is what Ms. Sunshine looks like that we've colored today. I'm probably going to go ahead and put some stickles and stuff on her. Oh, there's another part I need to fill in, I guess, with that orange, but we're going to put some stickles on her off camera. I'll take my white gel pen or something and put the sparkle in the eyeball or in the pupil, and we're going to call it done as far as the on-camera stuff go. I may do a pastel background on this. I may or may not. I know to keep with the stained glass effect, probably should maybe keep it plain, but we might just I might just put a pastel background on this. I don't know. I'll have to decide. But there is our picture colored in. There is Ms. Sunshine. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little color and gab. I hope you guys enjoyed this color and gab, and so go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you have not done so already. Hit that bell so you'll be notified when I upload new videos. Leave a comment and tell me what you think. Hit the heck out of that like button many times over. And you all have a great day, and we will talk to you all later. All right, bye guys.